So this is my freedom roadmap. What I mean by freedom roadmap is physical freedom and mental freedom. So physical freedom is pretty self-explanatory. It's something I always talk about, being able to move your body in whatever way you want, play your sport to the best of your ability, run fast, jump high, squat heavy, do pistol squats, muscle up, handstands, whatever your goals are, physical freedom. The more you can do, the more free you are. Mental freedom is a journey I'm currently on and I've made lots of progress on recently. So I think they kind of go side by side, but I'm going to walk through my journey with this in hopes that it can help everyone else out if you're on your own personal journey. So, starting off, fresh start. So what I mean by this is we all have these ideas and opinions and image of ourselves that we develop from usually other people, whether that's things people said to us in the past that allowed us to develop this opinion of ourselves. So first one, stripping yourself. I don't mean stripping your clothes, I mean stripping your ego. Strip these self-induced ideas you have about yourself that usually are inflicted by other people. So start fresh. Figure out a way that you can really strip your ego, letting go. So let go of all these past ideas you've had of yourself, and give yourself a bit of slack. Like, it's okay to take a couple steps back and think differently about yourself. Like, it's for the better. So then we have asking questions. So what I mean by this is, one, ask yourself questions. Why do I do this? Why do I have this habit? Why am I not able to do this? Or maybe because it's this, and this. Maybe because what he said to me this time led me to believe this. Now I have this idea about myself because of that one interaction. So ask yourself questions, ask other people questions. Hey, what do you think I can improve on? What do you think when I do this? What's one thing you like about me? What's one thing you hate about me? Ideally, you're only going to be having that conversation with people that you can trust and people that are really close to you. Introspection. So it's kind of the same as those last ones, but spend some time writing about things in the past. Try come up with, maybe you don't have to come up with answers, but just try work through some of that stuff. Try really figure out why you have these images and ideas of yourself. Figure that out, and there's always going to be something pretty beneficial on the other end of that. Then take responsibility. So like, this goes without saying, we should be taking responsibility for everything that happens in our lives, regardless of what it is, even if it's completely out of your control and it's somebody else's fault. Take full responsibility. That way you can be like, okay, he actually completely done me wrong there, but it's my fault because maybe if I had done this, and this, that wouldn't have happened. Now, I'm not saying beat yourself up over it and hate yourself for it, but take responsibility. That way you're able to almost have, or able to grow a solution kind of mindset to be like, okay, well, maybe if I had done this, and this, that would have been different. Don't beat yourself up over it, but just use that information for another stage of life. Once we kind of have this stage, we can move on to the next stage, where it's start building. So if you have a certain goal, if it's training specifically, maybe it could be outside of training, but it might seem way out of reach at the start. So we want to set ourselves up for small wins. So how I can put this as an example is, If you're learning pistol squats, yeah, the pistol squat may be way out of reach for now, but start working on that end range position of the pistol. Try hold for as long as you can. First time, you might hit 10 seconds, you might hit 5 seconds. That next day, try beat that record. You might add an extra 2 seconds onto that. Good. That's small wins. That's going to build momentum. It's going to build confidence. And it's also going to help boost our hormones, our testosterone in that moment, which, yeah, it's just beneficial overall. This could be anything, like if you're strength training. I used to do this when I was trying to improve my heavy pull-ups and dips. When I started a new block, I'd actually start a bit lighter, because then each week I'm adding 1.25 or 2.5 kilos every week. So very small increases, but that compounds, and yeah, you just really start to build momentum, confidence, and you're enjoying training, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna add some weight this week. And this could go for anything, any goals you have, but we're setting ourselves up for small wins. Then when we achieve those small wins, celebrate them. I don't mean celebrate them, go out for a fancy meal and a load of drinks. You can do that if you want, but tap yourself on the back, be like, hey, that was good work. As you drive home from the gym, play some music out loud, some happy music, your favorite song, sing along in the car. Enjoy yourself. If you want to stop, get yourself a little treat, that's okay. As long as we're not binging, that's fine. Celebrate those wins. Be happy about them. Then after that, positive self-talk. So this goes without saying, if we're talking negatively about ourselves all the time, your reality is going to reflect that. So trying to develop or come up with some sort of affirmations for yourself to say, that can seem a bit cringy, but they actually work. And sometimes you're almost making yourself really delusional, but sometimes that delusion will push you on to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Like, if I'm ever gonna do a heavy lift, usually a heavy lift in particular, because there's a consequence to failing. So if I was doing a heavy back squat, right, I don't want to fail under that bar, because yeah, I can bail out of it, but it's not a nice situation to be in. So before I'm getting underneath that bar, I'm saying to myself, I'm strong, I'm going to lift this, easy rep, and I'm actually visualizing myself going up and down. I'm like literally up and down, easy. I've done this before. This is simple for me, light work. It sounds silly, but it really works. And you can carry that over to anything in life. Positive self-talk on a daily. The more you do it, the more you're also going to be able to catch yourself out when that negative self-talk comes in. So then create good habits. I'm not going to say jump in straight away and meditate, journal, gratitude, don't eat all this food, only eat this food, do this, because from my experience, when I have too much on my plate, I actually lose focus and momentum in each area. So start off one habit, whether that's don't look at my phone before bed because I'm training in the morning and I want to sleep well, whether that's you don't want to binge on biscuits after your dinner, so creating an environment to make that possible. So maybe you're gonna add a tiny little sweet treat after your dinner, so you can somewhat feel like you got what you wanted without having to binge. So again, start small, gradually build. It will have a snowball effect, and over time, those habits just become part of your routine, and they will start to cancel out all those negative habits. Without that being said, you have to also be setting systems in place to get rid of those bad habits as well. Then again, balance. This was something I've really been struggling with for my entire life, and I've only started to really implement this over the last couple months. So yes, all well and good, work, but if you're just gonna get burnt out, it's pointless. So What I've been doing recently is I'll do all my work, but if I hit a stage where I'm sitting in front of the computer or the laptop and my brain just feels like mush, I'll put it down and I'll do something. I'll go for a walk, I'll put a podcast in. I'm fortunate enough now where I live a 1 minute cycle away from the beach. I'm going for a swim in the water. I'm really enjoying doing some of the Wim Hof breathing lately, so balance is key. Balance could also just be meeting up with friends, socializing, having good conversations, having fun, laughing, whatever it is, balance. Then a bit of a side step for that is don't get lost. So when you start to build momentum, don't feel like you've made it, or don't lose that drive, because it's really easy, especially you might feel you're making that initial progress and then it might taper off a bit. You might hit a bit of a plateau. Do not get lost. Be humble. What I mean by that is don't think you're above criticism. Don't think you're above listening to other people's opinions. Even if you may know more than that person, there's always something to learn from other people. That's something I've learned recently. Always a student. So same thing. You're always learning. Regardless on who that person is, someone always has something to teach you. Whether that's from their mistakes, whether that's from their successes, whether it's from their stories, their pain, whatever it is. And then keeping the fire burning. This kind of goes with the next one. Be clear on your why. So what's your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be able to hold handstands? Why do you want to be able to run marathons? Why do you want to be able to be strong as fuck? Because of this. Because this girlfriend broke up with me. Because fucking one of my parents died. Whatever it may be, what is your why? Understand that why. Get familiar with it. Ask yourself about it. Make sure it's something that you really feel like is your why, rather than something you're just making up because you feel like you need one, if that makes sense. So be clear on your why, and then everything you do is with that why in vision. So that's going to help the fire stay burning. For me, my why is, I have 3 whys. One is I want to become the best possible version of myself physically, so I want to become the best athlete I can possibly be. I want to be able to do stuff athletically, physically, that people look at and be like, holy shit, that's amazing, that looks impossible. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to perform to the best of my ability. I also want to be able to teach people this. I want to be able to change the way people view fitness and exercise and strength training, to believe that certain things are possible and you don't have to follow the mainstream. And then I want to change the people around me's lives, family, friends, everyone who I love. So that's my why. And there's also a deeper why to that, like my own personal pains, my own personal struggles, what actually initiated my own personal development journey. So get that why clear and then just use it relentlessly. Then this is the level I'm currently on, is next level. So leveling up from your building phase. So use your why as fuel, like we just talked about. Really get into that why, think about it, spend some time some introspection into why this is your why, and be delusional. What I mean by that is dream big, have big goals. Like they say, aim for the stars, land on the moon. So dream big and be fucking delusional. Like, even if someone is gonna say, come on, be realistic, I hate that word. I'm never realistic. I wasn't realistic when I said I wanted to be able to do 30-second handstands. I got it. That took time, but when I was telling people I was doing it, they looked at me like I was delusional. People used to see me falling over constantly when I was doing it. Now I can do it. At the time, I was delusional. Work harder. So I should have there work harder and smarter. So we're still keeping this balance into consideration, but you're taking it up a notch now. So if you can, train twice a day. And when I say train twice a day, I don't mean two crazy hard sessions, but you could break your session up into 2 sessions, or you can do your normal session, and then you can just do some evening mobility, learn a new skill, learn to juggle, whatever it is. If you're learning pistol squats, practice some of those at home. It doesn't have to be crazy fatiguing. It could even be adding some breath work in, just leveling up, working harder. Stop looking at your phone to fill time in. Instead, fill that up with something that's going to be beneficial to your long-term and short-term goals. Then, 2 things that are kind of the same: take more risk and get uncomfortable. So, for me personally, this was 2 things. So, I quit my job, I pursued coaching, and I'm still on that journey. I'm still trying to build everything I'm trying to do, but that was a big risk, and that was pretty uncomfortable for me. I've had someone who's almost a mentor of me, a friend of mine, Sage, say to me recently, if you don't feel uncomfortable all the time when you're pursuing something, you're not doing it right. If you feel like an imposter, that's good. You should feel like an imposter, because that means you're pushing your limitations of your comfort zone. That's something I struggled with for a long time. Comfort was my best friend, and I never wanted to push outside that. I'm still trying to push further and further, and that's still something I'm trying to work on. Then help others. For me personally, I'm coaching people, I'm helping people, I'm making this video, I'm making other videos. For you, it might just be, hey, getting your friend to the gym and taking your ego out of it and being like, hey, let me help you with this. Listen to their story. Give them advice from what you've learned from this journey. Again, be humble. Help others. Don't be selfish. Like, I get such a joy out of helping other people because, one, I love hearing people's story, but you can actually learn so much from hearing other people's stories, but just helping them on their journey. When they start seeing some progress, they're going to reach out to you and be like, hey, that really helped me. Thank you so much. That's going to build some energy inside you, and it's going to help you push forward even more. Then the next step, question mark. I'm not there yet. I'm not 100% sure. I've been playing around with a lot of this recently. For me, this journey started back in 2018, but I didn't really start digging deep into a lot of this stuff until maybe a year and a half ago. This journey definitely started around 21, 22, and it's been increasing ever since. Then, yeah, this is something, it's been relatively recent. I'm still having to remind myself of this stuff all the time, to be humble, be a student, ask other people questions. Sometimes you have to put other people first, because there's nothing better than having a full connection with someone, and there's so much to learn from that. And then, this is where I am now, so I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm being extremely delusional with what I'm saying in terms of my goals, what I expect from myself. It's almost, you're not really being delusional, you're just being confident, you're dreaming big, you're speaking it into existence. And for a lot of this stuff, whatever it is you want to push towards, if it's in the gym, if it's outside the gym, ask the universe for it. Don't ask in a way where it's like, I want this, but instead, I have this. So what I like to say is, hey, I have this already. I know it's in my timeline, but I want you to show me, give me a sign that I'm on the right path. And what this does for me it trains my subconscious to be more aware of those little signs that I'm on the right path. And there's times I could be doing anything, I'll see or hear one of those signs. I could be speaking to someone, they might say something, I get goosebumps, and I'm like, boom, I'm on the right path. I'm gonna keep fucking going, and I'm not gonna stop. So yeah, again, I don't know what this part is yet. Hopefully I'm gonna know soon, but whenever the time is right, I'm gonna know. Hopefully, me sharing my roadmap to freedom, physical and mental. I've really improved on the physical. I'm really trying to improve on the mental side. Yeah, hopefully that can help, and hopefully you can relate to some of this stuff. Yeah, so if you're just seeing this on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, flexi_strength. Feel free to reach out with any questions you have, and yeah, catch you on the next one.